So I know my audience isn't that big, but I still think it's important that I speak out about the situation, because I think the more perspectives that there are on the internet, the easier it is for people to like have their opinions. So, in case you didn't know, Mark Lee has been spotted wearing a Confederate flag. Did anybody expect this? No. Is the internet enraged? Yes. And rightfully so. Because although we did get an apology, this was what it was. And to me, that's not an apology. This is PR control. Because not once has the words Confederate flag been mentioned. So, yeah. And not even have a personal apology from him, because that's what we've known Mark for the past 10 years. Like, are we wrong about him as a person? But I do understand if this is like a lack of information or a lack of education thing. But I do think it's just pure ignorance. On my side, I don't think it is. But I do get where people are coming from, because this aspect of American history is not that well taught globally, as far as I know. Because I've studied in 2 different countries. I've studied in India and I've studied in London. And neither of those countries, while talking about history, mention like the Confederate flag specifically. So I do get where people would be coming from with this. Because, I mean, I did learn about the American history and I did study the Civil Rights Movement and everything. But I never learned about this Confederate flag like during my GCSEs. I don't know if that would be the same case for A-levels, but I don't know yet. And the only way I did know what the Confederate flag was when I saw the flag, or a version of it, I think, at one of the state borders when I visited the USA itself in 2024. So it was pretty new to me, and I didn't really know what it was and stuff. So I did my own research, and being the history nerd that I am, I did understand the meaning and like the amount of power it holds. So yeah, and I think it's just a case of just Googling what's on you, like specifically, especially now because he has control over what he wears. And it's just really annoying to me, because I've always known Mark to do better than this, and just, yeah, he's been one of the least problematic idols, I think, in my opinion. And to see him come out doing something like this, I really, really hope that this is like a one-off incident. And yeah, because I'm debating whether to support him now, and I've been a fan of NCT for like about 7 years, and it's just really inconsiderate to the fans. And I do understand if people want to stop supporting him or continue supporting him. Like, I get both sides, because I'm stuck in the dilemma between them, although I do think I will be refraining from talking about Mark right now. But also, frankly, that does not mean you get to like talk shit about people who choose to do either, because again, it's not in your hands. It's opinions of other people, and you can't change them. You can't force them to have a different opinion or the same opinion as you. So like, and whilst I'm talking about this, I would also like to talk about the fact that people are just using this incident as a way to just hate on the guy, which, I mean, sure, fair enough, but it's about matters that are completely unrelated, and it's just like, I'm seeing posts which are like, oh, is this a good time to admit I never liked him? No, it's not, because that means you are taking away from the issue at hand, and you're not talking about like absolute importance of the fact that this needs to be addressed personally by him, because this is how deep this is. Like, yeah, you're just making it about yourself now. Like, are you really that attention seeking right now? And like calling him like right-winged and stuff like that, which, I mean, I guess, sure. But again, this could very well be a one-off incident, and for the fact that he has had a career of like more than 10 years, like he's been on a camera for more than 10 years of his life, like almost all his life. The fact that if he is a racist person, like, again, we don't know our idols. He's hit it pretty well, I guess. I don't know, and yeah, I don't think I will be supporting Mark right now. But if his actions speak differently, if he does try to acknowledge it in some way later, I would consider passive support. But again, I completely understand if people are put off by him or just continue to support him. It just, do not try to like push that agenda, regardless of what side you are on, onto other people. There's a better video on explaining how like black culture is appropriated yet like taken from in the K-pop industry by this YouTuber called Indigo Detry. So I'm going to just link that here somewhere. But be sure to check that out because it's a really informative video and it talks about it. Because and I'm going to quote them on this because they said, regardless of how they act in the future, there will still be a picture of Mark wearing the Confederate flag on the internet. There will still be G-Dragon doing blackface on the internet and wearing a shirt with a hard R slur on it. And BM mouthing the N-word to a song. So, yeah. Like, the fact that this happens way too much, especially with black culture, which is a specific culture that has been taken like so much inspiration from for the K-pop industry itself, because rap, hip-hop, all of that is just very black culture central. And the fact that people, like the K-pop industry, does not respect the culture itself but continues to take from it is just honestly always been baffling me. Because yeah. And a second issue that I wanted to touch on is the fact that the shirt that he's wearing was apparently bought in Asia. I'm not quite sure on that one, but the fact that there's people out there selling this without knowing its meaning, selling it for aesthetic because it's a Western symbol, that's disgusting, because that symbol itself holds so much history and a very dark history. And like come on guys, do we even know what Juneteenth is at this point? Like you would not expect something like this from Mark, and it's really okay to be disappointed and still not bring yourself to hate him, because again, we have known this idol for quite a long time, you know, like decade or so, and it's okay to be put off, because because I get this feeling way too well, because this is a really random off topic, but I was bullied when I was in secondary, and it was by people who I considered my friends. So I do understand like the betrayal of like being disappointed in someone you sort of had a good rapport to. Obviously we don't know Mark, so we can't like have the good rapport that I'm talking about, but like it's a very similar situation, I think, and it should not be taken lightly. And I do think a personal sincere apology from Mark would like help his case more, and just sort of taking actions for this not to happen in the future again would also really help, obviously. And also I would just like to say, please get a different styling team, because if your team cannot do one singular Google search, I'm just gonna leave that thought right there, because even if no one knew the meaning of the symbol there, like let's just assume that, why would you not search what you're putting on yourself? Like, all it would take is just one Google search, one, and then you could be like, oh, that's not good, let's not wear that. So yeah. And like, Mark spoke up so much after he left NCT. He left a huge heartfelt letter, and fans really appreciated that because it gave them a perspective of what's going on in Mark's mind. I feel like he needs to do the same thing here, because there's so much crap going on. People are just insinuating stuff about him now. It's not even talking about the issue anymore. It's just hating on Mark for hating on Mark. And I think if he just comes out with his own statement, which was not some bullshit by his company, like, it would just, oh god, it would just really help his case. And like, I don't want to defend him on this because he is 1000% in the wrong, and I, as a person of color, agree that he should be held accountable for this. But like, don't spread like misinformation about him or send him death threats, because I've heard he's been like sent death threats, because what the hell? Okay, so yeah. And that's my final takeaway from this should be that I'm going to leave Mark alone for a little bit. Let him cook. okay, let him simmer. Like, let him take actions against this and stuff. I'm gonna let his actions speak for themselves, and then decide if I want to continue posting about him, because as you guys know, I have posted about him in the like past, and I have been very supportive of him since NCT as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a hard time, but we'll all get through this. Just don't spread hate about each other or Mark. Like, actually, maybe about Mark if it's for the right reason. You get me. But just don't do hate speech. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Love you all. Bye.